Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve, and we're here to chat Liverpool FC over the last week, all the latest news, contract talks, and previewing the match today against West Ham. First off, Steve, how are you this morning? We missed you last week, man.
Yeah, you always say with me as always is Steve, but it's not always.
It's just a habit at this
You're
point.
lying to the people. No, I was at Disney World last week, so that was really cool. But I definitely picked up some sort of virus while I was there. So I've been under the weather for a few days. Didn't know if I'd make this show, but anything for the people, Kyle.
The
You
dedication
pulled
is
through.
admirable. Admirable.
Yeah, you pulled through maybe 3 weeks ago. You pulled through, you could barely speak. I can't even hear. Huh? So, anyways, we're here.
It's,
We got a decent amount to chat through today, actually, and um, it's nice to be sitting up on the perch, 6 points clear with a game in hand. Any
how
questions?
how about that, man? How about that? I mean, really, just it's not talked about enough how well we're doing this season. It's I don't know. It just seems I think who said it here? Hannah said the fact that Trent's contract stuff is like overshadowing the fact that we might be about to win the league. Now, it's a little bit early to talk about that, but I mean, we're just 22 games unbeaten or something like that is the current run we have going.
Yeah, I don't even know.
That's unbelievable.
Sounds right.
It's
Sounds
pretty
right.
impressive. 22 games
I don't
on.
know if it's unbelievable. I feel like we've been on these runs before.
Well, no, that doesn't even wait, 22 games unbeaten. That doesn't make sense because we lost to Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but that was 22
all
games ago.
all competitions, right? Well,
But I will say what feels better about this run as opposed to previous runs we've gone on of a similar length is less draws. And the math is simple, Kyle. We're not going to do it here, but the math is very simple. We have less draws than everybody else in the top five that I can see here. Yeah. There's only like two teams that have less draws than us in the whole league.
it's pretty impressive.
And then, of course, we have the least amount of losses as well.
Yeah. Something I was pointing out last week too. I was looking at the table. Tottenham, go to look at Tottenham's goal difference compared to every other team that's around them.
13.
Yeah. Every other team around them is like 2, -7, -4. It's kind of remarkable, and they're still where they are in the table. Just something that I thought was very interesting. They have a pretty high goal difference. They're actually, based on the goal difference, should be in the top 6. But I did want to ask you, Steve, how is Disney World now? I haven't been in well over a decade. Just curious what it's like down there.
Was the last time you went when we went,
It must have been.
which would have been something like 2004, 2006?
I think I went a year after that with Justin.
Mm,
But it's been over a decade. How is it down there?
that's awesome. I mean, we go pretty often. My wife's family is our big Disney folks. Um, any anytime you can get away is nice, right? And
That's true.
then couple that with the weather. The weather actually wasn't excellent, but here near Boston, it's like snowy and 20 degrees at all times.
Miserable.
So yeah, so just there was a couple days in the 80s. But as far as Disney goes, it's a lot different than when you were there 10, 12 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago.
Jeez. I don't even
A
know if I'd
lot.
recognize it.
Yeah, no, you'd recognize it. It's still got the same vibe. There's a lot more attractions, a lot more restaurants. It's still just as clean.
Okay. Good to know.
Um,
Still a bunch of crazies.
yeah, I think it depends on when you go. We went around Christmas time, so while it was busy, it's not the busiest I've ever seen it by any means.
That's the one
'Cause
thing that I remember is, waiting 2, 3 hours for one ride. Like they're just that
yeah,
level of busy.
yeah. So there's still lines. I didn't see any lines that were more than 80 minutes. But
Okay.
if you know what you're doing, you can get the lightning lanes for the main attractions and I don't think we waited in line more than like an hour for anything the whole time we were there.
Okay.
Most of the time we had like the fast pass thing, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. Liz
Good.
says you were an hour away from my house. Yeah, Liz, I actually thought about you while I was down there because I knew you were in that area.
Good, man. It sounds like you had a good time. I want to give a shout out to all of our channel members in the chat this morning. Mom, Tony, Liz, Hannah, Oyvind, Lyle, what's going on, guys? And then, of course, everyone else, Yogesh. Oh, excuse me, Tony. Sorry, Tony. What's going on? RDO, Inspector Gary, Aaron T. Yeah, man, I thought I'd mix things up. You guys are
Alexi's
probably
in here.
tired of looking at our ugly mugs just constantly all or every Sunday. So I was like, let's give them something else to look at. But shout out to you guys. Make sure you leave. I'm just reading Oyvind's comment. Says sounds horrible.
I think Oyvind thinks a lot of things sound horrible.
Oyvind comes off as very cynical to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a
Pessimist.
funny way. Definitely a pessimist for sure. Tony's daughter's going to Disney World in April, so sounds like a good time. But yeah, man, let's jump right into this, man. So midweek, taking on Leicester, Boxing Day. Really, just a good performance. Someone said in here, was it ever in doubt? I mean, did you watch the game? I know you're in Disney World, but did you end up watching it?
Yes. No, I wasn't in Disney World for that. That was like 3 days ago, wasn't it?
Oh, well, I didn't know when you were in Disney World.
Going down early, especially to a team of such lower quality, I guess, is great. It's awful, but it's great because when Liverpool goes down early against one of those teams, I always bet because the odds change significantly. So, but what I will say is, no, it was never in doubt, and the odds barely changed when they went down 1-0.
That's when you know.
Typically, if you go down 1-0, Liverpool could be favored to win. We'll call it like minus 220, minus 225. And then when they let up a goal, it goes to like plus something. It went to like minus 150, which basically means you win almost, I don't know, 75 cents more for $10 or something like that. I don't know. This isn't a gambling
I'm not into
show.
betting, man. I'm not
This
into
isn't
the
a gambling
betting.
show.
But
We should turn this into a gambling show.
No, God, no.
I don't condone betting, and I don't bet a lot of money, just so everybody knows. But it makes the games a little bit more interesting.
We don't have the support to handle the losses we would endure if this became a gambling show. And then it would just be downhill from there. But the one thing about the goal was it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we were dominating that game, and then all of a sudden, Leicester counterattack, we're down 1-0. Now, about the goal, though, it was kind of lazy defending. The ball just kind of rolled. I don't even know. It wasn't Daka who scored. It was Jordan Ayew. It just rolled to Ayew's feet, and he just turned and shot. I consider it a lucky goal, but completely against the run of play, in my opinion. I mean, Liverpool were always going to win that game. Going down 1-0, it was just kind of one of those situations where, sometimes last year in particular, I almost felt if we went down 1-0, that was the end of it. It was almost like, all right, well, here we go again. We're down 1-0. We always concede first. I mean, that was the theme all of last season. We concede first. We're just like, all right, well, that's par for the course. And I almost kind of got worried. I was like, all right, we got to battle back now. We're probably going to end with another draw, But we go down 1-0 against Leicester, and I'm just thinking to myself, all right, whatever. We're about to put 4 past them. Doesn't matter.
We want
You
updates
okay?
on the money tree, Steve.
You look kind of dead over there, Steve.
Aaron says we want updates on the money tree. The money tree is
Steve's not even listening.
A lot bigger than it was. No, I'll revisit this. Your point. It's a lot bigger than it was, but it's struggling at the moment. It got so tall that the branches started to fall, and then they're very thin, so they broke. So I need to put some work into it, and I'll provide another update in the coming months.
Does it have to be potted? Can you plant it outside?
I think they're indoor. I just have no idea, to be honest. But it's not going outside. It needs to be repotted so that the roots have more room to grow in a new
There you
pot. But yeah, result was never in doubt. Going down early, we're kind of used to it, right? From last year and the year before, but
Exactly.
I don't know. Leicester stinks, man.
I didn't even know Van Nistelrooy was their coach. It was very weird. I thought he was over in the Eredivisie coaching. He didn't coach PSV, did he? Was it PSV? He may have coached PSV. I didn't know he was Leicester's coach. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. They still suck. But
I saw something recently that said City haven't won a game since the last time City won a game or a league game or something. Man United have had 3 managers, which I thought was a riot.
I think Man United altogether right now are a riot, dude. As a club, and Man City too now. I mean, now, to be fair, let me just play devil's advocate here. Man City are going through right now what Liverpool have gone through every single season for the last 6 or 7 seasons. Okay? They have tons of injuries, and they're finally experiencing what it's like when not everyone is available for you, when key players are out, and they're struggling. Okay, I saw a graphic earlier today, Steve, where Klopp, it was last season, where Klopp was dealing with, I got to pull this up. It was like 11 injuries at once, and it was to all key players. And I'm going to scroll up here and find it for you. Here we go. So the injury list included Salah, Nunez, Soboslai, Gravenberch, Endo, Allison, Jones, Trent, Jota, Thiago, Bajcetic, Matip. So maybe this was 2 years ago. Okay. That's a lot of injuries. He had to deal with that. We were still in a title race. We were still in competition for trophies. This City team is just falling off, dude. Falling off a cliff. They're down to what? 7th, 8th now?
They are at 7th.
7th place. 7th place in the league now.
Behind Bournemouth, Newcastle, Forest, Chelsea, Arsenal, and us.
That's the weirdest top 6 I've ever heard.
I know. Newcastle's not a huge surprise, but Bournemouth and Forest definitely
Bournemouth
are.
and Forest are a huge surprise. Now, I could have sworn that I completely lost my train of thought there because I read Oyvind's comment. City have like 1 injury, but they've had Rodri's out. Rodri's a key injury that was out.
That's what he's talking about.
What?
That's like the main one.
Yeah.
Rodri. They've fallen off a cliff since he got hurt. And I don't even think it's as simple as like, oh, he was that important to them necessarily.
He was very important to them.
No, he definitely was. But like when you take De Bruyne out of that team, De Bruyne is always hurt too. People never talk about that.
Oh, he's
always hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. But they still didn't struggle in years past when he was out. So I think it's a matter of the system has to be a little bit different when Rodri's not in there, and they just can't figure it out. But they still have Haaland. They still have Silva, Foden, all of these guys that score the goals, but they're not scoring goals. That's not because Rodri's gone. That's not because Rodri's gone.
They have a lot of players out. No.
Yeah,
I mean, but Rodri
do.
is like the yeah. I mean, Kyle Walker, Jack Grealish, Mateus Nunes, Ederson, Rodri, John Stones, Ruben Diaz. I mean, these are Nathan Ake, who just came back last match. These are a lot of key players. De Bruyne. That's huge.
I know, but they still should be able to score goals.
No.
They're the deepest team in the world, according to everybody else. They should be able to score goals still.
No, this is my point, right? It's long overdue, is what I was getting at. The fact that we struggle with injuries every single season, and we can always point to the fact that the injuries are the reason we weren't where we should have been in the table. But it was always 2 schools of thought, Steve. It was always the fans that said, no, the owners need to back the manager and buy more players for depth so when this happens. And then there were the other fans that said, you can't prepare for injuries. We have plenty of good players. It's just the injuries. So now that City are going through it, it's kind of like there's no planning for it because City, everyone says, is the deepest team in the world. And look at them. When they have injuries, granted, even if you say there's not many important injuries, when they have injuries, look at their form. Now, you can chalk that up to injuries, or you can chalk it up to Pep's losing the locker room, or the charges behind the scenes are stressing the players out, whatever you want to say. But my point is, injuries play a role. And so far this season, we've been very, very, very fortunate with the number of injuries we've had. Of course, we've had key players out at times. Kanate's out now. We had Jota out for a while. Elliott was out, but it hasn't been at the volume.
I have to cut you off. We've
Please.
had major injuries this year. Allison's
out every year. Every year.
Yeah, Trent was
every
out.
year for 4 months.
I know, it's terrible. I don't want to get going about Alisson, but like we've had players miss time. Trent, Jota, Alisson, Konate, Elliott.
This is all right. So that's it. That's literally it. Those are the only injuries, and they haven't been simultaneous. Is my point. All right. So
Robbo, Tsimikas.
What are these guys out for a week or two at a time? That's normal.
I don't know, but dude, we've had injuries.
No. Listen,
Jones.
Okay, listen to my point here. Okay, it hasn't been to the point where you're starting Bajcetic, Jones, and Tyler Morton in the midfield in a Premier League game, which we've known in the past.
Chiesa, Endo.
Okay, that is just Chiesa is a different story, bro. I don't even consider him part of the team right now.
I know.
My point, and I think Oyvind says it here. He said they would be fine with players like Ake injured. It's only Rodri they don't know how to replace. So this is what I'm getting at with us. When we had key players out, Jota, for example, huge injury. Konate, huge injury, right? Alisson, huge injury. But our midfield, which has been really the turning point this season with McAllister and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai and Jones here or there, have been healthy. Gakpo's been healthy. Diaz has been healthy. Salah's been healthy. I mean, key players have been healthy, and it's worked for us. In the past, when we've been dealing with multiple players out, right? Who I don't even remember the last, like last year, Szoboszlai was out for 2 months. Okay. Then you had Endo was healthy for the most part, if I remember correctly. McAllister was out for 4 weeks with a hamstring or a groin. I mean, we were just unlucky. And it makes a huge difference. I'm saying we've been very fortunate with injuries so far this year, knock on wood.
I like this comment. City have just lost the hunger. The rest is whatever. But yeah, I think they've lost some hunger, dude. I don't think losing Rodri should have this type of effect on a team with this depth.
I agree.
Because they're losing to scrubs, Kyle. And they're not scoring goals. Haaland was goalless for 7 Premier League games.
No one's talking about that enough. Everyone wants to talk about how Haaland is the greatest goal scorer in the Premier League, right? Am I wrong in saying he needs those chances created for him to score?
He can't create chances.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
He can't dribble, Kyle. He can't dribble or pass.
Well, he's very direct. If he can pick up the ball in a one-on-one situation, he has the speed to get around you and get a shot away. But you're right. He's not very technical. Now, when Rodri was injured in the past, they always struggled to went from 70 to 30.
Yeah, they do have a crazy win rate with Rodri, but Rodri's been there for what, Kyle? 5 years? 4 or 5 years?
No, it's been longer than that. He's been there for 7.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Even better. Yeah. Even better. No one was talking about him as a world-class player until 2 years ago, and then especially last year. He was just Rodri. He was just an overpriced DM from Atletico Madrid. Nobody cared about him. People cared about De Bruyne. I mean, Haaland recently. Ruben Diaz, Laporte, Kyle Walker, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, all these guys. They're all still there, except for Mahrez. So you mean to tell me that in the span of 2 years, and not you, just in general, generally
No, I know,
speaking,
I understand. Yeah.
you mean to tell me that Rodri became so important over the last 2 years that when he gets hurt, you can't even grind out barely any results, any wins, score any goals because your DM is out?
Now, my question to you, is that a system issue? Is that so there what is the reason for the results being so poor? Do you think Rodri's that important, or do you think it's I mean, what's the correlation? Does
All right, so
correlation mean causation in this case?
Rodri is excellent, and statistically speaking, by the analytics, they are like a top team in the world with him, and not even close without him. But you take out anybody from any other top team, take Kamavinga or Chouameni out of Real Madrid, they'll still win games. Take Gravenberch out of our lineup, we'll still win games. Take Declan Rice out of Arsenal's lineup, we'll still win games. So to me, it is more of a hunger thing that Change Guidance had mentioned earlier. It's probably tactics. I think Pep tends to overthink things, as we know, but I think the most important thing is that the league has gotten so much more difficult. So the gap in quality that you have against these lower sides doesn't matter as much because every game is difficult. Every game is difficult. Just look at the table.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's harder to win if you're not flexible in your tactics. If you don't have Haaland scoring 4 goals a week, it's harder to win. You need to be creative and change the tactics and find other people that will produce. But I will not believe that because Rodri's out, they can't find ways to get wins. It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Rodri's good, but he's a DM.
It's a good point. I think you could argue maybe De Bruyne, right? You could argue De Bruyne at one point was that important, or maybe still is that important. But like you said, he's out, right? He's struggling with injuries. He's always injured. I do want to transition to the news of the hour, right? The news of the week really is the contract situation with Trent. Now, we've seen more so on Salah and Trent. The Van Dijk thing has kind of been quiet. He made his comments at the Euros. Everyone was worried, but I think Van Dijk is probably the least worrisome scenario. I think Van Dijk will sign probably 2-year extension, maybe 3 if we're optimistic. He said in his comments earlier this week, might have been after the Leicester game, he said, I can play another 3-4 years at the top level. So maybe that's a negotiation tactic, probably is. Maybe it's just true because Van Dijk is just a machine. I mean, the way his play style will allow him to play into his late 30s, Steve. And I think you'll agree with me just how controlled he is. You know, he conserves his energy very well. His positioning is elite. Like he doesn't put himself in scenarios where he's doing a lot of sprinting. He's just very conservative in his defending. And I just think that's good for longevity in terms of his career. Now, we're looking at the contracts for Salah and Trent now. Okay. This week, Marca, I think it's Marca or Marca, could be wrong about that, came out with a report suggesting that Trent has told Liverpool that he's going to Madrid, right? Now, what's interesting, bro, look at their header. Can you see their header here? It's a little small, I know.
I can see it.
It's Madrid. So,
yeah.
It's Madrid. It's Real Madrid. Okay, so let's just take this with a grain of salt, guys. Okay, and I want to scroll down to the actual article. You don't even have to read Spanish. Don't even worry about it. All right? And I can't believe how this is doing what it's doing. It just keeps buffering. Hold on. Oh, God.
At
There's
the end
so
of the
many.
day, I think they're hung up on maybe
Oh,
wages, and
Trent.
he'll stay. I think they're just hung up on wages.
And what do you think the wages that he's asking for are?
I read something. I don't know the source. So I don't know if it's reliable, but I think they offered him 250, which would be a 70K bump, and I think
Right.
he wants 350. That's what that's where I read somewhere.
That's
I don't know
just
how legit that
mind-blowing to
is,
me.
but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a hold up on wages. But
It's
who
mind-blowing
knows?
to me. Absolutely mind-blowing to me, Steve, that he's making 180 now. He's asking for 350. They're offering him 250. The only one making 350 right now is Salah, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So he's asking for what Salah gets. Ultimately, the question then is, are you as valuable or important to the team as Salah? And I think most people would say no. However, I think he has a case for asking for more than 250. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's anything to like leave the club about, dude. I mean, there's stuff coming out this week. Again, Mars, I don't believe it, but I think a lot of people are up in arms about that report. I mean, there's tons of stuff online, fans like just saying like they've given up on Trent. Like after one report, they're almost like, get out of my club. You know what I mean? Like that, and honestly, it'd be unforgivable.
Oh, we already talked about this. Yeah, it's unforgivable. He's a Scouser. Also, he missed 24 matches last year, Kyle.
It's a lot.
24. That's a lot. That's half the damn year. In 21-22, he missed 17. That's a third of the year. 22-23, he only missed one match. But he missed 24 last year, and 3 years ago, he missed, what did I say? 17.
17 and then 24.
Maybe
So,
that's why we have reservations about giving him such a big pay bump. But also, he's not as valuable as Trent. Look what happens when he's out. Look what Bradley does. He's not as valuable as Salah, I mean.
yeah, I knew what you meant.
Look what Bradley does.
Yeah.
And we got Gomez who can play right back.
Gomez is unbelievable, by the way. Stellar.
Gomez is ridiculously good.
Yeah, God, it's so funny because everyone, including us, have flip-flopped on Gomez so much just because of how inconsistent he has been. But the last 2 seasons, when he's played, bro, I think he's finally in that mindset of just, this is what I need to do. This is my role. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to do it well. And I'm not going to mess up. Now, Stellar says we're the only channel that thinks Trent's staying. I'm hard pressed, guys, to believe that a Scouser who was given the opportunity to play at 18 years old and has been supported at this club, who is the vice captain of the club, who also is part of a club that has everything in front of them. I mean, really, you look at the situation that Liverpool find themselves in, top of the league after Christmas, in every competition, have won every Champions League match so far, have a new manager, young talent all over the pitch. In what world? I can get if things were bad. I can get if we're 5th in the league right now. I could understand. In what world do you think that leaving the club it's going to be better? If anything, it's a lateral move. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. If you go to Madrid, it's at best a lateral move. The only thing different is you'll probably get paid more.
Get paid more. Potentially win more Champions Leagues. You get to play with Mbappe and Vinicius.
I don't care.
I mean, he might care about Bellingham. He might care about that. But again, I don't think he's going anywhere. Here, let me put this into perspective for you. Oyvind says he's the best in the world at his position. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But for a long time there, so was Robertson. And Robertson makes 160K.
And he didn't for a while, bro. He was making 40.
Okay. Rodri, can we agree he's the best DM in the world?
I guess.
Gotta
sure.
be.
Yeah.
By default. He makes 180K a week. So the fact that you're the best at your position, and I don't know if this is what you're saying, Oyvind, but just generally speaking, I don't think that means you need to make a ton of money, right? You're from the city. You're a Scouser. You've been at the club forever. Are you really holding out for over 300K? Like, I don't know, but if I had to guess, I would say that might be the holdup. At the end of the day, if he is going to stay, he's probably loving all this drama online about how, yeah, he's just probably loving it.
He's probably eating it up, dude. He's probably sitting at home just reading comments, like maybe on his ghost account or his burner account, just commenting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You think I don't know, man. He seems like the guy to sit back and just laugh about it. But I agree with you, man. I think the only thing that could hold it up is the money. Right? And you think back to before Salah signed that extension, before Salah went up to 350. This was the big reason, I'm sure, the club was like, I don't want to break this wage structure, because then you have players like Trent who are like, look, I need to make what Salah was making during that contract extension. Again, I just don't. I think he knows too, Steve. I think he knows if he leaves, he will be banned from the city of Liverpool. Like he would just be absolutely hated. Absolutely hated. And it's nothing malicious that he did to the city. It's just the fact that, like everything you said, you're from the city. You're a Scouser. You know, you're the vice captain. And you're going to leave over money? That's so shallow of Trent. It's
not that much money either. Like, if we're offering him 250, he might get 325 over there. Like, they're not going to pay him like 600K. You know what I mean?
I mean, they could if they wanted to.
They're not going to. They're not going to. While they do pay their players a lot, we're not talking 600K.
No.
And also, is the money really that, like, important? Like, is 100K a week really that important? Like, is it?
I don't know.
5 million a year? It's a lot, but like, how much money do you need? You got endorsements and sponsorships and all this stuff.
I think it's about cashing in while you can. Right?
Well, he also knows this next contract is
his biggest one, probably.
It'll be his biggest one, maybe, but also it
will be his biggest one. Because look, it's going to be a 5-year deal. It'll take him till he's 30. And 31. So 31, even more so. Contract he gets after 31 will probably be half of what this current contract is. I mean, it won't be
necessarily. It could be like a 2 or 3 year deal for a little bit more, depending on how he does.
But right, depending on how he does. You never know. He is doing exactly what I would expect him to do at this point in his career. This is the let me put it this way. This is the most important contract of his career. Is that fair to say?
We went through this with Gerrard. The uncertainty, the
Right.
rumors.
Right.
The only person that's actually, like, I guess, completed this sort of saga in the direction we didn't want was probably Coutinho.
Coutinho, everyone knows he made the wrong decision. Hate him for it. He's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. His career got flushed down the toilet as soon as he left. Everyone knows
that.
That day, literally. He didn't sleep. His hair's all jacked up, but he's wearing the Barca shirt. How's it feel, Coutinho?
I remember where I was when that news broke. I was at a bowling alley.
Yeah, worst place to be when news like that breaks.
But it was like a nice bowling alley. It's called King's, and they have it's almost like a club with an arcade and good food. It's like an adult bowling alley. It's sick.
Still worst place to be.
I was watching something online on the TV at the bar, and the banner came up on the bottom of the screen, 146 million or whatever it was.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no way. And that day, his career died.
Yep. And the only thing that I keep thinking about with Coutinho is Liverpool were in this purgatory state. Like, yes, you could see we were getting better and we were really good, but we still weren't considered a top club in Europe yet at that point. And Klopp told him everything, like, look, you're going to stay here to build statues, right? So he left. That is not the case with Trent right now. Trent is on a team that every year is competing for every trophy, is considered one of the probably the best team right now in England, and definitely top 3 in Europe. Probably top.
We're the best right now. We're the best in the world.
I think Madrid is better at this point. Until we play, I mean, I know we beat Madrid, but I don't know. It's hard to say. However, it doesn't make sense to leave the club. That's why I feel like we're here saying he's not going anywhere. It doesn't make sense to leave Liverpool right now for, like you said, 100K? 100K more?
Also, apparently he loves Slot.
Yeah. So everything, aside from the fact that this report that has Madrid as their banner is saying that he's staying. Everything's pointing to the fact that he's just negotiating.
Yeah, and he said all my extensions haven't been played out in public, and this won't either. So 2 days later, I'm expected to believe that Marca has the golden ticket info, Kyle.
It makes no sense.
No, literally everybody's bashing them. Like
everyone.
It's clickbait, Kyle. It's clickbait.
I know, but the thing is, you get one of two reactions, okay? One, everyone's saying, like you said, why would anyone believe this outlet? And two, people take it as that's true. It's a report, and they start bashing Trent.
Not to mention Fabrizio Romano, the GOAT, debunked it, Kyle.
I know.
On his YouTube channel. He said, no, there's no agreement. There's no decision. There's no agreement. I bet you everything gets sorted during the break. When's the break?
Dude, I don't even know.
The break's coming up. The winter break. The window. What is that, January?
Yeah, January? Are you talking about the transfer window? Or the break?
Don't we get like a couple week break coming up soon?
Is that this year? Is this the first season we get it?
Let's see.
Also, while you're doing that, I want to give a shout out to Liz, who every week now, Steve, will gift a channel membership to someone. So, Liz, thank you very much for the support.
Yes, thank you. You're the best.
Also,
I don't see breaks coming up.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's this year. They talked about a winter break like Germany gets, but I don't know.
I thought there was like a international break coming up.
Aaron said no, that's not till March. Aaron said no more winter break. Well, classic. Wait, no, Oyvind says between 5th and 14th of January.
For the league, but we play on the 5th, the 8th, the 11th, and the 14th. And then the 18th.
Dude, unbelievable.
We play on the 5th. And then, yeah, I guess there's a league break. But we play the EFL Cup semifinal against Tottenham on the 8th, and then the FA Cup third round against Accrington Stanley on the 11th.
Accrington Stanley. Legends.
What a club.
What an I was going to say. One thing I wanted to bring up, dude, the away or the Adidas kits. All the renderings of the possible Adidas kits and designs, I was like, these look clean. These look awesome. And then I saw the dropped ones, and I thought they looked kind of ugly, Steve.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I saw something on Twitter today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, who knows if it's true or not, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. Why I get so optimistic about these kits, and then I feel like they try to do way too much with the kits. They're like this home kit this season. Nike's trying way too hard, bro. Keep it simple. Way too busy. The kits are ugly this year. I was talking about it.
I don't know if they're ugly, but have fun with the alternate, like the third kit. Keep it simple with the main ones.
Yeah. Oh God, it's bad. But, so I don't think Trent's going to Madrid. I don't.
No.
I don't think he
so
is
either.
And give it a couple days, there'll be a new fake story out about how he's told the club he wants to leave and all that. But yeah, that's where I'm at, Steve. So
3-1 today.
3-1.
I know we're kind of skipping over the West Ham preview here as we wrap up, but I'm going 3-1.
Now I'm going to stay and preview the match. But if you need to go, that's fine. Steve's going 3-1 with the prediction. Guys, leave your predictions in the chat. Stellar, going back to the kit, says too flamboyant and tacky. I agree. That's exactly where my head was at with that. But I don't even need to pull it up on my screen. I don't know why I do this. It just makes everything freeze. Steve, do you have lineup predictions for us before we go?
I'm having a hard time following who's fit and who's not. Like Jota, Chiesa, are they fit?
Let me tell you
Jota's
right
fit.
now. Pull it up right now.
I hope we see Elliott today at some point. I hope we see Jota, and I hope we see Chiesa. Not in the starting lineup. I think the starting lineup will be a little bit more of the same. I think you might see Gakpo in for Nunez today. So I'm going to go Trent.
Gakpo in for Nunez.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I'm going to go Trent, Allison, Van Dijk, Gomez, Robertson, McAllister, Soboslai, Gravenberch, Diaz, Gakpo, Salah. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
I just got a feeling. Oh, Soboslai suspended, they said.
Oh, that's right. He got that yellow card. Okay,
so Jones.
Or
Elliott.
It's got to be Jones. I think Jones starts. I don't think Elliott honestly, I think Slot's going to have Elliott playing in the cup matches. To be honest,
which is fine.
I mean, that's fine. He'll probably get subbed on as well. But yeah, all right, Steve. Well, thanks for being here, man.
Yes, I have to jump. Goodbye.
Take care, man.
Until next time.
Until next time, Steve.
Take care.
So, pre-match stats for the match today against West Ham, guys. So, in April, we had a 2-2 draw with them at the London Stadium, and we beat them 3-1 earlier in the year at Anfield. Now, Liverpool have scored at least twice in 7 of their last 8 matchups against West Ham. And West Ham are unbeaten in 4 Premier League games, 1-2 drawn 2. Last having a longer run without defeat between December and February last season. So West Ham are on a pretty decent run of form right now. And this will be the first time, if West Ham win today, which is not likely, that they've won consecutive league games since March. Now, West Ham dealing with some significant absentees. Souček is suspended, along with Guido Rodriguez, who actually I don't even know. Fabianski, Kilman, and Soler were forced off at Southampton due to injury and are expected to be unavailable. And Mikel Antonio is also out. Those are significant absentees for West Ham, guys. You have Kilman, who's, I think, their captain. I could be wrong, but that's their main center back. And Carlos Soler, who, I mean, yeah. And then you're missing Mikel Antonio. They have a lot of players out. But Jared Bowen, that is their like ace up their sleeve, I feel like. Jared Bowen, I'm not sure how good of a season he's having this season. I haven't looked, but Jared Bowen has always been a threat to us. He has, here it goes right here. He's netted 5 times in the Premier League. He also leads the team in assists. Interesting. So, yeah, Jared Bowen's their guy. Now, they beat Southampton on Boxing Day 1-0, and they got a 1-1 draw at Bournemouth. And again, Bournemouth are in the top 6 right now. Let's see what else we got. Sitting 13th in Premier League after 18 games, having gathered 23 points. So not having the year you would expect to have with the kind of team West Ham have, but they're dealing with a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries. So in terms of head-to-head, I feel like, let me pull that up actually. I'll go over to the chat too. Hannah says we still have a game in hand too. Yes, and that's playing into our favor. So now Liverpool against West Ham. Kickoff for us over here in the States is 12:15. Okay. Now head-to-head, Liverpool are obviously huge favorites here. 35 wins to West Ham's 10. And as I mentioned before, last results for us against West Ham, we drew back in April 27th, 2-2, and then we beat them in September 3-1 last season. The form guide, they have actually only lost 1 in their last 5, having 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, whereas Liverpool, in their last 5, 3 wins, 2 draws. West Ham have 6 wins, 5 draws, and 7 losses this season, averaging 1.3 goals per match, 1.7 goals conceded per match, whereas Liverpool 2.4 goals scored and just 1 conceded per match. Oyvind is going 3-0 to Liverpool. Liz is going 4-1 to Liverpool. Shayna's going 2-1. And those are all very good predictions, honestly. And the thing with this is you're going up against a team that is in the bottom half of the table, a team that has significant absentees with, I guess, Kilman. Yeah, Kilman, Antonio, and Souček, right? Key players for them, and Carlos Soler. You still have Jared Bowen, so you got to be aware on the counterattack. And really, the only situation I can see being a problem for us is a situation like Leicester, where against the run of play, they get in behind and somehow get a lucky goal. That's it. That's all I can see happening right now. I think we're in too good a form. Now, it is at the London Stadium, but either way, I don't see a situation where Liverpool does not walk away with this being 3-1, 4-1, 3-0, 4-0 even. I mean, that's a stretch, but man, I think it'll be a very good match in terms of how Liverpool play, goals scored, good defensive play, all of that. Now, Szoboszlai being out, I'm not concerned with. I think Curtis Jones has really taken a step up this season, mainly because of the role he's been playing. He's been playing more of an attacking role, sometimes out to the left. I think Curtis Jones, now given the freedom to go forward, is just as productive, if not more productive, than Szoboszlai has been. Maybe doesn't run as much, but he definitely gives you that protection of the ball and confidence with dribbling and holding on to possession that Szoboszlai doesn't really give me. I don't know if he gives it to you guys, but I just feel like when Curtis Jones is on the ball, I feel like, all right, we're not losing possession. Things are going to be fine. Gary's going 6-0 to Liverpool. What a game that would be. And so I'm feeling pretty confident. Now, lineup predictions. Okay, let's go standard back five, right? We're going Allison. We're going Robbo. Gomez, Van Dijk, and Trent. Midfield, you're going Gravenberch, McAllister, and Jones. And then Salah. I think Darwin starts again. Actually, I don't know. I think Jota plays. I changed my mind. Jota plays and Gakpo plays. Gakpo's just been on fire, man. He has been. We said it all last season, especially after the Euros when we saw how he played on the left. Gakpo is more productive and a better player when he plays on the left. And Slot has seen that and he said, "Look, dude, you're playing on the left. You don't have to play false nine. You don't have to play striker. I'll put you on the left. I know you're confident over there. Look how many curlers he has this season. I mean, he is just a revelation on the left side." And so it's hard pressed to find a place for Diaz to play unless you put Diaz, and really Slot has known that. So he said, "Look, Diaz, you got to play you got to play up top for me, buddy, if you're going to play, cuz Gakpo on the left is just unbelievable." So for me, I'm still going Jota in the middle and Gakpo out left, and then you sub on Diaz. I think that's how it's going to be, guys. Let's go over to the chat to close this one out. Aaron says Tsimikas will start. Diaz in the false nine. Okay. Everest, going back to Trent. Wouldn't want Trent to go, but if his mind isn't here anymore, then so be it. Very, very accepting way to look at it, man. I'd be a little more pissed off than that. Peter says Gakker's always cutting inside. It's amazing though. You know, even if you know what he's going to do, his size and his length and his great on the ball, he's just great. He's a great player out there. You wouldn't think that a 6'4" or 6'3" player would be so dynamic on the wing, but he is. And he's more productive on the wing. He's just a great player. Stellar here going Kelleher. Okay, Kelleher, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Endo, McAllister, Jones, Diaz, Jota, Salah. Very interesting, Stellar. Okay. Very interesting. Gary says, Jota as our main striker. You can play McAllister in the 10 since Szoboszlai is suspended. Chiesa can play on the left. I'm very hard-pressed to think that Slot plays Chiesa in any Premier League games. Any. Really. And Shayna, what's going on? I just saw you in here. Guys, thank you very much for tuning into today's show. Enjoy the match today. It should be a good one against West Ham, an injury-ridden West Ham. And, of course, thank you for your support monetarily, all of our channel members. Liz, always supporting the channel as well. It keeps us going here. A lot of stuff behind the scenes, especially with the streaming software that costs money. So all of that goes directly back into the channel. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate your support. And until next time, Reds, take care.